What's up, guys? I'm pumped as always. Hey, Tanner, real quick, if I get through this fast enough, are we doing questions? Can we have time for questions?
It's your
Like
time,
live?
brother. You do what you want. I know
Okay,
you like
cool.
Q&A, so yeah, you're good until just take it to 420.
Cool. I'm gonna try to leave some time, guys. I'm gonna try to get through this in like 20, 25 minutes to give you guys some time for Q&A. Because I know that's where you guys get, a lot of value out of some of the stuff. So real quick, I love engagement. I love interacting with you guys. I'm gonna ask for engagement a couple times throughout this. I want to get a sense of the room here. Where's everybody at? Tell me if some of this stuff is relatable to you guys. If it's not, we'll pivot the presentation on the fly. But tell me if any of this is relatable. Feeling stressed out, getting back to clients, right? Maybe you're the point of contact for a lot of clients, stressed out getting back to them. Shoot, meant to get back to Debbie, yesterday, didn't respond to her in time. If any of this feels relatable as I'm going through it, just drop a one in the chat. Stress about calling leads. Like, God, I know my marketer tells me I need to call these leads 10 times. I keep forgetting to follow up. I'm busy, etc. Following with clients for final payments. It's like, man, we finished that job last week. Should have gotten paid on it. Painters calling you all freaking day with questions about stuff. That's a big one for probably a lot of people. Job costing maybe isn't happening as often as it should be, right? You're backtracking it for like a month or 2 months or a quarter. You're jumping in production because you fell quote unquote behind schedule. Oh my gosh, that's my biggest pet peeve. I'm getting some ones in the chat. Sounds like, okay, some of this is relatable to a lot of you guys. If it's not, like, let me know. We can pivot this. About 6 months. Why am I stressed? I have no clue. Cool. So hopefully some of this should be helpful. These are just a few examples of things, keeping you working on the business rather than in the business. And you guys hear that quote all the time, right? It's easier said than done. So today I want to show you guys, one of the things that's been one of the most impactful things I've ever done for both of my businesses. I'll give you guys a real quick intro of me in just a second. But for those of you guys that don't know, I run a marketing company. I've run that for just a little over 5 years now. Actually, like in a couple of days, it'll be the 5th-year anniversary. And I've run a painting business for a little over a year and a half now as well. So I was a marketer first, then went and ran a painting business. And this has been one of the most impactful things I've done for both of those businesses. Okay. It's like a perfect segue after Brandon's presentation as well. So this is how we hire rockstar overseas admins, so actually people in other countries, and delegate major parts of our business for less than $1,500 a month. Like I said, a quick intro of me. If you're like, who the heck is this guy? I haven't seen this guy on the interwebs yet. My name's Eric. Just so you know, a little context of me and where I'm coming from. Before I got into business, I was actually a wrestler my entire life. If you've competed in athletics at a high level or wrestled, you recognize why I'm saying that, just so you understand like the thought process and mentality I'm coming from with some of this stuff. I was a state runner up in high school, wrestled in Division I for a couple of years. And that's where I got my start working in advertising, right? I was a broke college kid trying to make some extra money, figured I'd learn how to run some Facebook ads and do that sort of stuff. In that process, I started working for a company called Fields Home Solutions in Ashland, Ohio, kitchen and bathroom remodeling company, doing, I don't know exactly where, but a little over 10 million a year while I was there for those couple of years. Month one, I was hired as an appointment setter to call leads. Month one, I got really good at that. I was outperforming our top rep in the call center. By month two, I was using some of the advertising experience I learned, took over their Facebook advertising. And by month five, Facebook ads was the third most profitable lead channel in their business. And big company doing that revenue level, we had 10 to 15 lead channels at any given time. So it was a really cool accomplishment. From there, I dropped out, started my marketing company. Like I said, it's been almost 5 years now. We've worked with 320 something plus, probably more than that now, painting businesses on marketing and sales. We've worked with all the big franchises, worked with all the big paint influencers, got all the 5-star Google reviews, did the thing, right? And as a lot of you guys may know, in April of 2023, I decided, man, I haven't had enough of this industry. I'm going to go start my own painting business, right? So this is the photo of me actually flying back. I was in Mexico at the time because obviously my marketing company is remote. So I tend to travel around a lot. This is a photo of me flying back, touching down in Cuyahoga County, March 25th, 2023. I want you to take note of the date there. Basically what transpired over that year was not all sunshine and rainbows. I had my struggles just like anybody does. But I got the business to $1 million run rate that summer. I passed the quote unquote fishing test, which is basically like, can you leave your business for a week and go fishing? And the business run totally fine, right? Without you. I passed my fishing test. Currently, still to this day, I work about 1 to 2 hours a day in the painting business from anywhere in the world. I'm currently in Medellin, Colombia, what I kind of consider my home base. And yeah, and it runs fine without me, right? Or with minimal involvement per se. This was my fishing test. I know a lot of you guys probably love fishing. I hate fishing. I can't stand it. I think it's so boring. I love snowboarding. I went on a snowboarding entrepreneur retreat with a bunch of my friends because of the time zone differences and the event schedule. I mean, I maybe worked 5 to 10 minutes a day, just sending a couple messages to my team. That's really all I could do, right? And everything ran just fine. without me. We had an incredible sales week that week. Everything ran just fine. It actually ran so good that instead of flying back to Cleveland afterwards, I went down to Panama City and spent a week or two in Panama City with my girlfriend. I want you to take notes of the dates. March 25th, 2024, March 30th, 2024. We go back. I touched down in Cleveland to start the business March 25th, 2023. Okay. And I don't say that as like some weird humble flex at all, but just simply to show you guys what's possible, right? You don't need to slave away for 20 plus years and create this giant, massive company to create freedom from your business, right? And I think that's oftentimes what a lot of you guys get told on the painter forums and some of that stuff, right? Like you don't, there is a different way. And that's my goal for today, right? My goal for today is to show you guys a new way of thinking, ways that can create profit and freedom in your business much, much, much faster, maybe untraditionally. And all I ask in return for putting this together for you guys is that you just come with an open mind, right? Because stuff will be shared with you guys and it's probably different than what you guys have heard before. All I ask is you come with an open mind because it's going to give you the best shot of making the most out of this. Okay. So again, who can relate, right? A lot of you guys put this in the chat, right? A lot of you guys can relate to this, right? Not having time to do everything. You're wearing all the different hats, stressed about all these different things, getting back to people, all these questions. You're the point person for everything. Okay. For me, the secret inside my company has been a role I call project coordinator. Okay. This is a little bit more than like your traditional admin. A lot of people would think of like an office admin, that sort of stuff. It's a little different than that. And I've actually, since staffing this role overseas rather than doing it stateside, I literally saved myself thousands and thousands of dollars every single month, every single year. Okay. So I want to break this down for you. Like, what does this role actually do inside of my company? Okay. So is just a very long list of not all encompassing, but a lot of the things my project coordinator does. Okay. My project coordinator does a handoff call to my clients after our salesperson closes the deal, right? So salesperson closes the deal, my project coordinator reaches out. We call it like an anti-buyer's remorse call, right? Just make sure like, they know we're going to be communicating with them. They know when our color consultant's coming out. They know when our project manager is coming out for a walkthrough, and they're good. They're happy. They're not like, why did I just agree to pay this person 10 grand to paint my house, right? They schedule the PM walkthroughs for my PM to go out and do the walkthrough. They schedule the time for my designer to come do the color consultations. They schedule project start dates. They literally do all client communication pre-job kickoff. Okay. So everything that happens before the job actually starts, where my PM picks it up, they do all of that communication. They follow up and make sure clients sign off on color consultation sign-off forms, releasing our liability if they don't like the colors. They make sure our paint actually gets ordered and it's going to show up on the job site a day before, so we reduce Sherwin runs and make our labor more efficient. They create our project jump sheets, right? Similar to like a work order. So our painters know exactly everything that needs to happen and minimizes questions. They create Slack channels for our painters so they know so our painters have a spot for communication, right? Just about that job. And it's not one crew getting messages about the other crew's job, right? They update our painters on schedule for tomorrow in case we need to move painters to different jobs to maximize efficiency, make sure our GP is really high. They handle all of that. They double check and make sure our clocked hours inside of we use ClockShark for that, but inside whatever software is accurate. They actually update painter hours for payroll. I even now have my admin actually running payroll, just sending it to me for approval and actually then processing payroll through Gusto. My admin reaches out for final payment from clients. My admin does all of our job costing and then just sends me a report on it. So she reports that to me and our PM. She audits all our Sherwin-Williams receipts for accuracy to make sure there's no mistakes. She uploads our after photos inside Company Cam. She reaches out and asks for 5-star reviews. She also asks for referrals on all of it. And there's probably another dozen things I'm missing. Okay. You're like, wow, that's a long list, right? And this is all done by somebody overseas for about $1,500 a month. Okay. And a lot of you guys might be thinking, okay, but Eric, aren't these things the project manager does? For a lot of people, yes. This is where, again, I'm asking you guys to think a little differently. Okay. So this is what my org chart looks like to fulfill anywhere from 1 to 1.5 million in revenue. Obviously, we've got the general manager, which is me. We've got our sales team over here. We've got our project manager, all of our painters and subcontractors that report to my project manager. And then my project coordinator actually works hand in hand with my project manager. Okay. So it's this role in the company. And my goal here, and I actually learned some of this from Jason Phillips, who you guys heard from earlier, and a few other people I know in the industry, that if we can very much optimize our PM to be either all in the field or all in the office, we will increase efficiency. So I want my PM to be able to do 99% of his job from his phone, driving out in the field. Because when we split that and he's also doing office work, it gets chaotic and crazy and our efficiency tanks. So my PM and my project coordinator actually work hand in hand. My project coordinator is in front of their computer all day long, fielding all that stuff. And my project manager is out in the field, fighting fires, making sure clients are happy, training our painters, recruiting, doing all that sort of stuff, right? So this is the key role. Is this making sense so far? Drop a 2 in the chat if this is making sense. If I'm losing you guys, drop a 3. I want to make sure you guys are tracking. Don't be scared to drop a 3 if you are. Okay. Cool. Fantastic. Okay. So a lot of you guys might be asking, okay, Eric, like this all sounds great, but what about that, delegate this for $1,500 a month part? That sounds pretty nice, right? So this is the core premises, and I'm going to dive into all the tactics here in just a minute. But when we hire overseas, we get to arbitrage the US dollar. A lot of us are in the US, we don't travel a lot. You guys may not think about this a lot, but the US still to this day, we won't go into conspiracy theories or anything, but still is currently one of the world's, if not the world's strongest currency, right? So we have an arbitrage effect, right? Where our US dollars go much farther in other countries. Okay, like I said, I spend a lot of time in Medellin, Colombia. For perspective, this apartment I'm in right now is a 3-bedroom, 4-bathroom apartment in a very, very good area of town, $900 a month in rent. Okay, that's the local price for this apartment. Like I said, I'm currently in Medellin, Colombia. You can live very, very comfortably, very comfortable life here as a local for $1,000 a month. Okay, we can't do that anywhere in the US. We can't live a middle-class life in the US for $1,000 a month. So our dollar goes farther. This is arbitraging the US dollar. Okay, and just to give you guys some examples, so you know this is real, I want you to meet my project coordinator, Miro. She's actually no longer our project coordinator, just for all transparency. She had to go work in her family business a little bit more. So we've actually rehired this role just a handful of months ago, but nonetheless, you get the idea. This is my project coordinator, Miro. She lives in Puebla, Mexico. She speaks perfect English. I'm actually going to show you guys an example in a minute. She makes her compensation is $1,000 USD per month plus bonuses. So she gets bonuses on her appointments that actually close. And I'd say in any given month, depending on sales and other factors, she'll make anywhere from like $1,300 to $1,800 a month after bonuses. Okay. For perspective, I actually interviewed her with my clients and everything. She just graduated school or college before she started working with us. And she got told by her professors that if she nailed it and got an amazing job out of college, she was going to be making about $750, $800 USD per month is what it would, convert to and everything from the peso. Okay. And that's if she nailed it. Like she just did okay. I mean, maybe she was making $500, $600. So it's an incredible opportunity for her. She's making more than she ever could, right? She's earning in a stronger currency and she gets to work remote and she doesn't need to go travel into the office or anything like that, right? So it's an incredible opportunity for them. And maybe the more important part, our clients freaking love her. Our clients really like our new admin, Gloria, too, but like our clients love her, okay? Which is really important. I want to show you guys actually a video. Oh God, we got a 3 here in the chat. Drop me wherever I lost you. Drop me where I lost you and I'll circle back. So I want to show you guys actually a video so you can hear her English. Okay, this is actually a testimonial video from her to the company that staffed her where we found her, which I'll show you guys how I go about that and everything here. But I just want you guys to hear her English. Actually, I probably got to share screen with sound real quick. Yeah, hold up. Oh, Tanner, I may not have permission to do that. That's awkward. Tell me if you guys can hear this. Maybe you guys can. Maybe it does that by default. You guys can still see my screen, right? Yeah. Tell me if you guys can hear this video. If not, let me know.
No, we can hear anything here.
You guys hear it? Oh, that's so sad. Well, Tanner, maybe you can switch the setting. I can circle back to it. Her English is really good. I don't know. I don't know how to show you guys not sound working, but I wanted to show you guys that her English is great. Maybe we can circle back to that. But nonetheless, you guys are like, cool, Eric, that's awesome. You have this great admin, this rock star. But how would I find somebody? I don't know. We're just figuring out how to hire in the US. How the heck would I do this overseas? Valid point, right? So here's some of my quick tips for hiring overseas. I highly recommend using a recruiter. There's a bunch of them out there, but here's what a recruiter does, right? So what a recruiter is going to do is you're going to come to the recruiter and say, hey, I'm looking to staff somebody for my painting business. They need to have really strong English. They need to be comfortable talking on the phone. They also need to be really organized because they're going to be handling our job schedule and all that sort of stuff and blah, blah, blah. So they're going to go, okay, we need organized, we need this, that, whatever. They're going to go in their giant pool of candidates and they're going to then send you maybe 5 to 10 candidates that they think would be a good fit for you. Okay. You're still responsible for everything else as far as interviewing them and all of that sort of stuff, making sure it's going to be a good hire. But where this is different than in the US and why this is so valuable and recruiters charge a lot of money for this is because of this. For example, I made a post on Facebook one time trying to hire this myself. And literally within 30 minutes, I maybe had 300 to 400 DMs. Like, I'm not even exaggerating, like literally probably 300 to 400 DMs. And I mean this nicely too, but like literally all of them trash candidates. I probably skimmed through like 50 to 100 of them. And I was like, this is literally garbage. Okay. So what a recruiter does is sifts through all of that. They do initial interviews, initial screening and everything so that I don't have to go through 500 people to get to my 10 candidates to then schedule my 3 to 5 interviews. I just get to start at the 10 candidates. Saves me hours and hours and hours of time. Typical recruiter price will vary, but I'd say average is probably about $3,000 per placement. So it is expensive, but you're buying your time back, right? Which I'm sure you've heard a bunch of people today and tomorrow tell you how valuable some of that can be. This is my personal preference. I like to go Latin America over the Philippines. Both are really popular for staffing overseas talent. There's a lot of really talented people in the Philippines too, right? Here's just been my experience hiring and having both as team members. One, you have the time zone difference, right? So the Philippines is going to be about 12-hour time difference, depending on what part of the US and daylight savings time and some of that stuff, where Latin America is going to be on a much similar time zone, right? I'm in Colombia right now and I'm on Eastern time. For perspective, it is 4:04 where I am right now. So similar time zone, also much similar culture is what I found. Okay, I found our Filipinos, there's a lot more timid. It takes them a lot longer to open up when interacting with our team and other stuff like that. Okay, again, there's a lot of awesome Filipino talent out there. Those are just some cons I found personally and why I prefer to hire in Latin America. That being said, Latin America is a little bit more expensive. Okay, just because of cost of living and some of that stuff. Filipino talent will be a little less expensive. One really big quick tip is treat them like you would someone from the US. They're a human too. I know that sounds like really obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people I talk to and see how they interact with their team, especially if it's the first person they've hired overseas. It's different to them. It's not totally a familiar culture. And they just kind of feel like this robot that does stuff in the background. No. If we can actually build culture and systems that hold them in as part of the team, we will get significantly a better performance and have a much more enjoyable team and culture and everything to work with. For perspective too, just to give examples, literally tomorrow, I start my annual company retreat for a marketing company, okay, hosted here in Colombia. I'm flying my entire team out, even my team members from Venezuela, my team members from Ecuador, my team members from other countries. They are coming out too because they're a part of the team. They're valuable just like everybody else. Okay, and that's a big mistake I see a lot of people make. I think another big one too is pay a little over market rate to find the best talent. I mean, I guess this kind of goes for any role, right? In the US too, painters, whatever. But especially when hiring overseas, like the difference between $1,000 to $1,200 a month, like that $200 really probably doesn't affect our business that much, but it can make a massive difference in the type of talent we're able to recruit because of that, right? Like it's just a much smaller, that percentage is a much smaller amount of dollars given just the wages and everything, right? A big question I get asked is when to hire. When do we hire this role? So many people are like, oh my gosh, I feel like I wouldn't have enough for them to do. I don't have enough for a full-time role. Well, I mean, to reference, if we go back, this is not even everything my admin does. Like you will find things for them to do to make you effective, I promise. But nonetheless, still, when would you hire this role? Okay, here's my thoughts to make it simple for you guys to think through it. Literally, I think as soon as you can afford about $1,000 a month in fixed overhead every single month, I think this role can be potentially, based on your situation, a no-brainer hire. Because the reason I say that is because it creates significant time freedom for you, which allows you to go create more revenue, right? If you're not doing the job costing and telling clients, yep, we're still on schedule to be there next Wednesday. And if we're not doing all these like little mindless, what people consider like $2 an hour tasks, we can now go run more estimates. We can now go manage our teams more effectively. We can now go do those other things that are going to create more revenue. I bet pretty much most people here on this call, if I was like, hey, I'm going to free up only 10 hours of your week. That's it, just 10. Could you go make $1,000 extra in your business with another 10 hours back? Probably. Like you could probably go run another 5 estimates and close one of those. Like we could all probably find a way to do that if we had that time back. But again, because of the arbitrage on the dollar there, like the return we get from it is just more significant than any other investment I've seen back into my business. I've literally made this a joke before with clients that like, if I was launching my painting company again today from $0, I didn't have funding for my marketing company or anything else, but I knew what I knew today, I'd literally take out a loan and hire this role from day one because of the amount of leverage it creates per dollars that go out, right? Ray, I see your question in the chat. Yes, full-time, 40 hours a week. I mean, you can hire part-time. I just, again, the payment is just so low relative to the US. Like I hire full-time and I'd rather have them have more bandwidth to do more things, right? They could be calling realtors. They could be reaching out to interior designers. Like there's so many things that they can start doing. Victor commented here in the chat. He said he has the best one so far. We actually helped him staff his admin. His admin has literally helped him build systems and spreadsheets. I'm on a call with his admin once a month. His admin's a savage, right? Like his admin had free time and helped build systems in the business that now Victor runs, right? Another way to think about this is I also think if you're spending money on marketing or you've got, at least 2+ painters in the field, again, I think this is a no-brainer hire, right? Because you've got some revenue coming in that unless your GP and other things are just totally effed, like this again becomes a no-brainer hire because of how much more effective they're going to make the marketing by being able to follow up with those leads better than you're going to have the time to do so, right? And just other ways where they're going to increase efficiency, you're going to be able to make more than $1,000 the amount of time they're going to save you. Yeah, Aaron, I got you. You'll get all the connections and everything. Victor said, do they work for other companies as well? Victor, you know this question. You're just asking this for other people. They just work for my company. That's typically my recommendation as well, right? Because then they really get to learn your culture, your systems, et cetera, right? They're not a freelancer. Like they are a full-time employee, okay? Or 1099 contractor or whatever, okay? This is why I'm so passionate about this, guys. These are just a handful. I literally just found these earlier today. This is one of our clients, Todd, that we helped him staff. He sent a message to Corinne, who's my internal recruiter, and said, so far Hamilton's exceeding expectations. He seems very disciplined, is structured, driven, which is a huge plus for us. He has already taken the initiative, thinking outside the box, bringing some great ideas to the table and a couple key ideas. Thanks again for all your help. This is another one of our clients, Tim, who we staffed recently. Tim said she's killing it, already making calls and has an estimate scheduled. She's a go-getter and very smart. Next week is to dial in the calling and getting more comfortable. And then he followed up actually a little bit later and said, yeah, she just started calls an hour or two ago. And this is like her first week on the job or something. This is another one of our clients, Jordan, who said he did some training with his new admin in the afternoon, told her to watch some of the additional appointment setting videos, keeping her familiarized with drip jobs. And if they want to try to make a few cold calls on the back end of the day, like they can, but no pressure or anything. And his admin just took initiative and already scheduled 2 estimates in like their first week on the job. Okay. And like, this is just a couple that I found handy. Obviously you heard me reference Victor and everything. The reason I'm so passionate about this is because of the amount of impact it makes for you guys in a painting business is freaking insane. I'm mind blown every single time. This is normal in marketer world. Like hiring an overseas admin, like the first team member I ever hired was overseas. Like this is a normal thought process in marketer world, in online business world, in software world. In a painting business, this is like almost kind of a foreign concept. I guarantee you almost a very, very small percentage of the 231 people on here have an overseas admin or really explored this, right? And the amount of impact having that first office team member has on these businesses is it's insane. And this is why I get so freaking fired up about some of this stuff. Okay. It's my belief that really, really amazing talent equipped with the right systems is what will ultimately give you freedom. Okay. I have a much smaller painting business than a lot of my peers. Okay. Much, much, much smaller. Okay. But I would argue I have more freedom than most. Okay. And that's because I have really, really great team members and I've built really good systems for them to really run and utilize all of their potential. Okay. Great talent equipped with great systems is what will ultimately give you freedom. So let's say I want to leave some time for questions. Tanner told me I had to sell you guys something. So here's the very quick sales pitch. I'm just joking. But if you are interested at all in hiring an admin, creating freedom for your business, if that at all sounds interesting to you, then I want to let you in on a little small special service that is normally only available to our marketing clients or consulting clients that I work with, where myself and my internal recruiter will do all the heavy lifting for you and staff you with your very own Rockstar Overseas team member. For perspective, I have a gal on my team. Her name is Corinne. Some of you guys have gotten to meet her. She does all of my HR, people strategy, hiring, et cetera, for both my painting business and my marketing business. And that's why she has some free time. We've opened this up to some clients that have needed help with this. And for literally like the first time ever, we'll be opening this up to some of you guys if you want the opportunity. So you guys asked about recruiters, right? Here's the difference between using a recruiter versus potentially working with us on this. I'm not a recruiter. I'll explain how this works. So like I said, you're going to pay about $3,000 to a recruiter. They're going to send you candidates that meet your criteria. You review the applications. You do the first interview. You do the second interview, if you do a second interview. And then ultimately you make an offer and hire them. You're responsible for everything after the candidates. They make it easier for you. It's well worth the money, but you still have a lot of work on your plate. Okay, for some of you guys that are looking for a recruiter, remotelatinos.com is a place to go. A lot of the vendors here will recommend them. The owner is actually a really good friend of mine. He lives in here in Medellin. I was just at dinner with him the other day. He's one of my closest friends. They're great people. Tell them I sent you. They'll take care of you. Another option is working with us, okay? Where we're going to charge you $2,997, basically the same, right? Basically the same exact dollars. But the difference is we will actually meet with you. Corinne will meet with you, get a sense of exactly what you're looking for, culture, scope of work, etc. We will then go to Remote Latinos and pay them on behalf of you. We will review the candidates they send you. We will do the first interview. We will do the second interview. We also put them through a skills test, usually like a mock call or something related to the role we're hiring for. And then we ultimately bring you the top 1 or 2 people from that final interview, or from that to do a final interview with you and ultimately make an offer with you. Okay. Just saving you a ton of time of actually reviewing all the applications, doing all the interviews, and then potentially getting it wrong because you've never hired an overseas person before and you don't totally know what you're looking for. Right. And if you're sitting there going, okay, well, like, Eric, why in the heck would I pay, why in the heck would you charge the exact same or $3 less because you made it more of a marketery price point? Why would you charge $3 less than the same people? Very transparently, here's the deal. Because I've hired so many people internally, because he's one of my closest friends, and now we've hired a handful of people on behalf of other people, I get a much better price. I pay about $12.50. Okay. And he knows my team and Corinne is going to do an amazing job and they're not going to have problems and it's going to be much easier. So I pay about $12.50. I pay a much better price. Okay. So transparently, that's what we do, right? We're going to go pay them. I'm going to give Corinne a little bit of a bonus and we're going to make a little bit of profit too. Okay. So also, one last little like special thank you. In here, Corinne helped us hire. Yeah, Corinne's a beast. I appreciate you saying that, Anthony. As a special thank you here to all the liftoff attendees. If you do sign up today, what we will do is we'll staff you for only $2,497. So we'll save you a chunk of money here. And what we're going to do is we're going to give you a 6-month Rockstar or replacement guarantee. Basically meaning if for any reason like we miss it, and it's happened a couple of times, like one or two times we actually have had to replace it. No matter how good you get at this, you don't always get it perfect, right? No matter how good you get at sales, you don't close every single deal. So we'll give you a 6-month. Normally it's only a 1 month. We'll give you a 6-month Rockstar replacement guarantee. Basically meaning if for any reason that team member quits or you have to let go of that team member or something doesn't work out, we will replace them for free at no additional charge. As a side note for you guys, I'll drop the link here in a second. We actually only can take on about 3 to 5 people at a time because this is my internal team member that does this for me, doing this for you guys. Like, this isn't like a full thing we do, right? Like, we are regularly on a waiting list just with our like marketing and consulting clients. So we can only do about 3 to 5 months. We've got some immediate openings right now, but if there is a lot for this, it'll come on a first come, first serve basis. Okay. I will drop a link in the chat right now. The link is only going to be to a $100 deposit. The reason being, one, you guys don't need to pay me all that without having a conversation with me or anything. But also, two, like, we're sticking our neck on the line, and we want these people to go to good homes. And I'll be real with you guys, like, not everybody's a good fit at all. Sometimes we got to be like, hey man, like you're just not ready for this yet, and we want to make sure you're going to be a good fit. We're going to be staffing people, in a good home where they're going to be for a while. So that link's there if any of you guys are interested. Other than that, I think I went a little longer than I wanted to, but I think we got like 5 minutes left. If anybody does have questions, let's drop them in the chat or
Eric, we got 3 minutes.
Cool. I'm going to hit some of these that were like the actual like Q&A things first real quick. And just drop them in the chat. We'll rapid fire. How do you pay employees in other countries? How does your CPA structure the salary? Great question. They're going to fill out, I believe it's like a U4 or 9 or something, which is like an international independent contractor. All of mine are independent contractors. Just found it's easier. I use a software called deal.com. There's a couple out there, but this handles all of the compliance for me. It's like $50 a month. It costs a little bit, just like Augusto or whatever would, but it handles all the compliance and everything, and actually like pays a Ecuadorian entity and then pays them. So everything is all kosher. Yeah, Eric, if you decide it's not a good fit, or we decide it's not a good fit, $100 is 100% refundable. I'm not getting rich over $100 here, I promise. What are your typical day-to-day activities that you still do yourself as an owner during your 1 to 2 hours workday? Great question. What is your typical day or week of work look like for you? Great question. So basically my main responsibilities are I do my morning sales huddle with my salesperson, right? It's an hour. We go through huddles, projections for the day, and do some training and everything as well to keep sharp. And then I do an end of day production huddle with my project manager and my admin, going over tomorrow's schedule, anything that came up during the day, any little points of coaching my project manager may need help on. Usually takes about 15 to 30 minutes. I'll check Slack midday, see if the team needs anything more urgent from me. And then I also like checking on financials and all that sort of stuff too, right? I handle all that just periodically throughout weeks. I recently met with remote Latinos, and the cost they mentioned doesn't seem to align with figure. Oh, really? Is it higher or lower? Just to clarify, are you handling the entire hiring process? And then the candidate would be directly lower. Interesting. Okay, cool. I know they have like I said, Omir, the owner, and Esteban, the co-owner, are both really, really good friends of mine. I know they've played with some structures recently. I thought with what he told me most recently, it was actually going to be a percentage of what they were hiring, which would actually make it more. But that's totally okay. Like you will not hurt my feelings at all if you go work directly with them. Just clarify you handle the entire process, and then the candidate would be directly hired through Remote Latinos and us. So they are your candidate. This is why I really like Remote Latinos too over other staffing companies, is because a lot of staffing companies, they actually hire the candidate and then like it's their person and you pay them $1,000 and then they pay the employee of yours like 900 and take a little bit as like recurring revenue. I get it as a business model, but I don't love it. Like for me, the user, right? So how it works with like Remote Latinos, and when we do this with you, right? Like they're not our employee, they're not Remote Latinos employee. They're yours, like they're 100% yours. You pay them, if you give them a raise, they get all of it, et cetera. And I personally think that's the right way to do it.